Anyone who didn't get the copy that Jara is distributing? So, welcome back. I hope you had a good day until now. What I will do is that I will show you some examples of trailers. And it will be in order to inspire you, hopefully, and to show you how different trailers are. And I really think that trailers should be different because they, of course, represent very, very different films. So I would like to show you 6 trailers. The first one I could add, because you can see that very clearly when you see it. It's sort of an example of, there's a lot of people who absolutely hate to pitch. They find it terrifying and something that you only do because you're forced to it. I had that experience myself when the first place I pitched was at IDFA in Amsterdam. I'd never made a film that was outside of Denmark. I never had a meeting, even an individual meeting with a commissioning editor or film consultant or anything. It was terrifying. I was scared shitless, I think it's called. I felt like a man who entered something like animals because you like dogs, and then suddenly you find yourself as a toreador in the middle of a bullfight. It was really not nice. And making trailers is absolutely, of course, not the same. But I feel sometimes that you also do it because you need to do it in terms of presenting your project, which is also, of course, absolutely part of the truth. However, I have experienced that in the cases where you use it yourself as a process of working with your film, because it's very often the first time that you work visually with your film. And if you give yourself time enough to do that, and not only 2 days to make a presentation trailer, but actually have time enough for it to be a project, a process where you get to know your material and become more conscious about what it is that you have on your hands. I think the trailer can be a very useful, the fact that you're forced to make a trailer can be turned into a very useful tool for a director, actually. But anyway, the first trailer that I would like to show you is a Spanish one, and it was obvious that he didn't like that. He was only doing it because he was going to a pitching session, and his producer told him to make a trailer. And then he decided to turn that into an advantage. His name is, where is it there? Leon Simignani from Spain. The film is called Mapa. And I don't think it's a film yet. I think it's still in the process of making, but let's see it.
Un teaser, un tráiler. Yo qué sé, manía. Bueno, a ver, María, yo lo intento, ¿vale? Tú empieza con la imagen del hindú bajo la lluvia. Que te digan lo primero que se les venga a la cabeza. Si te dicen algo tipo invierno gris, trancazo, neumonía, tú no te desanimes. Diles que sigan imaginando, que vuelen un poquito, ¿sabes? Y si poco a poco empiezan a salir términos como ligereza, libertad, fluir, entonces es que vamos bien. O sea, puedes quitar la lluvia, poner al mono y vas metiendo el tema de Queen con ese arrebato sideral que te hace sentir que cualquier cosa es posible en la vida. Como cuando tumban un edificio de siempre y la gente se queda ahí en la calle arrebatada, mirando. Paras la canción y les dices que yo me creí el arrebato de Queen. Y lo de escuchar a mi corazón y eso. Sí, a mí párame también, que es que esto es un poco bochornoso. El caso es que entiendan que la película parte de eso, ¿no? De un arrebato. Me siento vacío, quiero sacudir mi vida, no sé cómo hacerlo. Leo a Pasolini, me pongo Queen, compro cajas, empaco mis cosas, las meto a un trastero, dejo mi casa y me voy a India de mochilero, a buscar. Y que por eso pues la película se titula Mapa. Y aquí aprovechas para decirles que en la peli también habrá momentos así, sin cortes ni juegos, contemplativos, porque así es la soledad. Al menos la que yo sentí en India cuando aterricé y se me pasó el arrebato de Queen. El caso es que un día estoy ahí en el ashram de Rishikesh mirando al Ganges así solo y contemplativo, inmóvil, y me pregunto, bueno, ¿y ahora qué hago? Porque yo lo de no hacer nada y dejarme fluir como el hindú bajo la lluvia, pues como que lo llevo muy mal. Y esta soledad de India mucho peor. Y de repente un momento mágico, de revelación. Como cuando hay un eclipse y la gente se queda ahí en medio de la calle, parada, mirando al cielo, y por un momento deja el móvil y cede la angustia y aparecen respuestas. ¿Qué hago con mi soledad de India? 1. Grabar imágenes para una película. 2. Buscar una compañera. No, para, Queen. Y quita la cámara lenta. Eso. Que tampoco vamos a abusar. Es que además no será así, ¿sabes? No es que de repente conozca a una chica, se acabe la soledad, se suelte el mono y me dé otro arrebato de vida como el de Madrid. O sea, María, que quede claro que no va a haber una historia de amor. Bueno, un poco sí. Bueno, no. Vamos, que no les vendas la comedia romántica con mochileros, porque es que nos vamos a meter en un problema. Y entonces te paras, haces un silencio ahí medio dramático y les dices, y así como te la estoy contando, será exactamente la película, en primera persona, un diario, compartiendo con el espectador los miedos, las dudas, los arrebatos, los bajones, los temas de música, las letras, las imágenes que me encuentro, el proceso de hacer la película. Porque al final Mapa es una película sobre la búsqueda. Y como es un documental, tiene que ser una búsqueda real. ¿Y cómo es una búsqueda real? Torpe, patosa, a ciegas, como las niñas. Pero tú diles que lo importante de esta imagen no es el paralelismo de las niñas están a ciegas como yo cuando hago la película, sino que están jugando. El juego. Y esto es clave, María. Esto es muy importante que les quede claro. Que ante todo la película, Mapa, es un juego. Y aquí sí, aquí puedes volver a soltar el pause y Queen. Porque aunque Mapa sea una peli que hable de invierno gris, de vacío existencial, de alienación, de necesidad de cambio, de arrebato, de buscarse uno mismo, de no encontrarse, de soledad, de estar a ciegas, todo esto también puede ser divertido. Bueno, por lo menos eso cantó Queen. Y yo me lo creo.
I still remember when I read the catalog with this film, because that's of course very often your first meeting with a film. That is the written presentation. I didn't understand anything of what the film was about, and nobody did. He basically wrote that his girlfriend left him, and that's why he decided to go to India and find himself again. You know. And when I read it, I said, yes, and then what? And then when I saw the trailer, I understood. So I think partly I would take this as an example of how difficult it is to describe some films, that you really, really need to see them, or you need to know the director, how he or she makes films. And that's very often the case, that in these international presentations, that you don't know the director. So that's how the trailer becomes a way in. And then also the fact that it shows, well, since the film is a search, I need to make the trailer a search. And need to make it obvious what the film will be like through making the trailer in the same searching way that he did. And then, of course, he also played with the fact that he didn't want to make the trailer. The second one is very different. I could say almost the opposite. And actually, it's not a trailer. It's the opening scene of a film. But I chose it because I think it can be used as a trailer, actually. Let's see it first. It's a film from the Netherlands by Paul Cohen. It's called Janine, and it's the portrait of a violin player. I will just watch the first, I think, 4.5 minutes of the film.
Okay, this is going to be the first take of the first movement of the Violin Concerto of Beethoven, Opus 61. Is take one.
the 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 difficult situation about making trailers, of course, is very often that you have to make them at a certain point where you don't have the visual material that you need, so that you feel that you can't present your film visually. And I think this is an example of how simple it can be. Of course, you need to be with her, and of course, you need to spend time with her to find out that this is how this is the potential scene that could represent my film. But it is simple. It's one scene. It doesn't necessarily have to involve a lot of time and traveling and expenditure, which is very often the case in the early development, that we don't have the time and the money to do that. So so for me, it's on one hand an example of how simple it can be, and also that we sometimes maybe tend to put too much into a trailer because we feel that we need to explain our film, because we know that there's people out there that we need their money to make the film, so we need to explain everything so that they know exactly what they get. And I, of course, from this, you don't know exactly what you get, but I think at least I would like to spend an hour with this artist, so I get an impression of a character that interests me, and I got to get an impression of the director. And I think maybe that's the most important point. There's very few subjects that there hasn't been made film about. So it's very seldom that you can sell the film by explaining the theme or the subject. It's very often the director that we are looking for and not the subject. There are a few cases, of course. If I had unlimited access to the White House a week with Obama, I'm sure that I could sell it almost on that right. Very few questions about the director, how it will be made. Or maybe even a week with Jimmy Carter instead. But still, it's very seldom that is the case. It's very often your way into it. And I think that's maybe the most important thing that you can say in general about trailers, that you really need to present the way you would like to make the film. And it's of course very, very different what your inspiration is. Very often you read something in the paper, you meet a person, you go to a place, whatever, and you get the inspiration for the film, but you don't know how you will turn it into a film. Of course, that's a process. So I would like to show you two different trailers, and all of them, both of them were about the place. The inspiration came from the place to the directors, but as you can see, they dealt with it very, very differently. The first one is an Italian one. Alessandro Negrini, the director, is called. And the film is called, or again, he hasn't finished the film, but the project at that time was called Nerta. He read about this village in Italy that was supposed to be torn down because the municipality wanted, or the government probably, tore down, wanted to build a dam, and it would be dangerous for the inhabitants, so they wanted the inhabitants to move, and they decided to stay, and this is all he knew when he went to the place and made this initial shooting. So let's see that.
diventate importanti le mie camere. Perché ho detto, questo è il terzo film che fanno, il terzo, le comparse. A parte che quello del Vajont non hanno fatto granché, perché ho visto 4 corna, mi hanno fatto correre tutta la sera, che non mi voglio più ricordare, non me lo voglio più ricordare.
Io mi chiamo Filippin Giuseppe Ignitali e Peppino Giambon in dialetto. Sono friulano, col sangue R0HH positivo. Dai, tutto con te. Io ne sapevo che veniva giù, perché nel piede delle montagne entrava l'acqua e si apriva le crepe lungo la strada, e allora dicevano lavoro in corso, tabelle non facevano capire alla gente. Mi hai capito?
C'è un'idea da fare per i 50 anni adesso, che le 50 anni chi ne ha coperto? Tu sei un sindaco.
A me piace adesso che da riuscire a fare, che se arriva da fare in modo che il presidente arrivi qui a me.
Non è mai venuto nessuno chi né papi né presidenti, sa fremere fuori dal paese.
Che arrivi qui a me.
Perché non hanno fatto qualcosa quando era ora? Che l'hanno lasciata ammazzare 5.000 persone. E poi mi vengono a dire, dai, non è possibile, no, non hanno fatto niente per noi. E io devo star là a correre dietro al giorno d'oggi a un po' più di preti, a un po' più di stronfi, di quelli che sono giù a Roma, che vengono su a far cosa. Perché non l'hanno fatto prima?
Al cinquantenari, basta scrivere, non si accetta politici. Una tabella di là e una di care la strada. Politici a casa vostra. Preghiamo da soli e voi bestemmiate in compagnia.
De Fontana, tu che adesso demolì le case, parti che non si interessa.
Però, io credo alla rinascita del paese.
Bisogna creare le condizioni perché i se fregano.
Parlano troppo. Continuano a girare il coltello nella piaga di chi ha avuto le sue disgrazie. E questo fa male.
Con la storia c'è mocale, perché ma anche le contaduce amore.
Ma può essere un motivo per lavorare e per resistere quindi che paese.
Può essere un lavoro anche.
Mi dà proprio fastidio. E se dico che preferisco il silenzio a tutto il rumore che stanno facendo, lo preferisco.
Però se tu riesci a veicolare la parotenie come...
Allora lì a Roma con la sappa e la forza e dice chi il paese che sei.
Ma se può dare 6 film.
Eccola un'amica. Guarda che mi salutano.
L'importante è da riventi in futuro e che potesse vive.
Yeah, as far as I remember, the director also only spent like 4 or 5 days in the place. So again, it was not a lot of shooting in order to make the trailer. I must say, I think it was amazing how related he got to the people in the village over such a short period. And obviously, although his starting point, his inspiration was a place that he read about, he took the choice to tell the film through the characters. It's not about the village, and it's not, although it's in the background all the time. It's not about this destruction of the village in order to gain electricity from the dam. it is about the people who are divided in the village about what to do. So I think it comes totally clear that it's a character-driven film. Whereas the other, which is of course is a choice that one needs to make in a quite early stage. The other film, the other trailer that I would like to show you, which is also inspiration from a place, is quite different. It's a film, or again a project called Trains of Thoughts. No, I actually think it's about to be finished almost. It's about it's by a German director called Timo Nowotny. Maybe you heard about him because he made a remake, so to speak, of the Megacities, Michael Glawåker's film. He got the permission from Michael Glawåker to make a remake, so to speak. He re-edited quite a lot. It was only with Glawåker's shootings from Megacities, but he different music, and he re-edited the film quite dramatically. And this is his second film, Trains of Thoughts.
Sometimes I speculate, oh, what's going on with this person, what's going on with that person, but really it's not that. It's just a feeling of like overwhelmed by how much personal history